इसका मतलब आप अपनी बीवी से मोहब्बत नहीं करते? इतना वक्त नहीं ले सकते?
हम खुश हैं, हमने अपनी जिंदगी बना ली.
Shah Rukh Khan has been called many things over the years. The king of romance, the Badshah of Bollywood, King Khan, and many others. And upon a simple glance over his career, it's not too hard to see why. The raging success of his Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge became the perfect catalyst for the actor to capitalize on this lover boy image he had made for himself by appearing in roles that further established this enigma of his as the romantic hero we all, at some point in our lives, found ourselves getting fond of with each passing film. His repeated collaborations with Aditya Chopra and, more importantly for this video, Karan Johar, ingrained all the Rahuls and the Rajas in our minds, touching the strings of our hearts and even finding their way to our daily lives. With the formulaic approach at characters, sure with minor tweaks here and there, Shah Rukh Khan really became a household name during a major stretch of the decade between the mid-1990s and mid-2000s. For us, it was never really about watching the character Khan was playing in a certain movie. It was about Khan playing that character in the most Shah Rukh Khan way possible. We embraced this relationship between ourselves and Khan, and the actor embraced it as well with open arms, pun intended. But every action has an equal and opposite reaction. While on one hand, with every passing movie, Khan only saw a rise in his image as the quintessential romantic hero, the actor in him, on the other hand, got compromised with each of these ventures. The brand Shah Rukh Khan had become bigger than the actor Shah Rukh Khan, and it all came head to head in the year 2004 when on one hand, Farah Khan's larger-than-life romantic saga Main Hoon Na became a thumping success with the masses, and on the other, Ashutosh Gowarekar's Swadesh, a film that stripped Khan off his extraordinary image for a relatable, real character, went largely unnoticed. It was an exclamation mark with ginormous implications on a career that ironically started with theatre performances, saw a stint on TV, and above all, had gone through some iconic grey, or in some cases, out-and-out negative characters in the beginning of his film journey. Gone were the days of characters that flirted with immorality and obsession. Unlike earlier in his career, Khan had built an image to be justified in his filmography, something he still finds it hard to let go of as we stand in mid-2021. But somewhere between all of this, Khan appeared in what I would call his bravest role to date, and that includes his stint as a villain in movies like Dar and Anjam. This was of course the 2005 romantic drama Kabhi Alvida Naa Kehna, which saw Khan in perhaps his most evolved artistic performance to that point as the pessimistic Dev Saran, a character that instantly became controversial because of how it juxtaposed the traditional SRK archetype with the skepticism of Dev. With a humongous star cast and Karan Johar of all people at the helm of the project, the buzz surrounding Kabhi Alvida Naa Kehna was immense. Here we had Khan working with a director who himself had been pretty instrumental in sculpting that very image of Khan this movie quite cleverly peels into pieces during its runtime. What we see in Dev at the start of Kabhi Alvida Naa Kehna during that bench scene with Maya was really a precursor of what to expect in the film. Dev, a football player, while still sporting the very familiar traits of all the Rahuls before him, appears to be a little different. His Rahul-esque charm is also accompanied by a tiny sense of annoyance, but it still becomes easily digestible because of how he subtly uses that same sense of annoyance and narcissism to fuel his dry sense of humor.
वैसे मैं किसी से एडवाइस नहीं लेता, लेकिन दूसरों को एडवाइस देने के लिए हमेशा तैयार रहता.
But then this happens. The next time we see Dev, 4 years have already passed. His career as a football player has long been cut short, and his nihilism has taken over his entire personality. He still sports some bits of his sense of humor, but the difference now is that he doesn't laugh or even passes a smile after cracking a joke anymore, consciously going out of his way to make the listener feel uncomfortable. His humor that is derived from his now prevalent narcissistic behavior becomes offensive at times, whether it's with someone he's meeting for the first time or his own wife.
तुम्हारे टेस्ट को क्या हो गया है रिया? अगली बार अफेयर करना हो तो मुझसे पूछो, मैं हूं ना, मैं किसी को ढूंढूंगा तुम्हारे लिए. आफ्टर ऑल तुम्हारा भी कुछ स्टैंडर्ड होना चाहिए. द ग्रेट रिया सरन.
And that's where Dev starts becoming unlikable. The burden of failure he carries within himself is quite aggressively showcased in his relationships. His annoyance with the world, and to a much deeper extent his own disability, is no longer funny. Dev becomes the epitome of an unhappy man, weighed down by the fact that his wife now earns more than him. To him, this realization alone feels like he's trapped in a condescending marriage, something the movie goes out of its way to show is not the case in reality.
तुम शिफ्ट कर रही हो. वाह. और मुझसे पूछने की जरूरत तो थी नहीं. आफ्टर ऑल मैं होता कौन हूं? मैं तो सिर्फ तुम्हारा हस्बैंड. मेरी औकात ही क्या है? मैं तो सिर्फ तुम्हारी कामयाबी पर तालियां बजाने के लिए खड़ा. मैम.
And so slowly, Dev becomes a systematic deconstruction of the perfectly designed idea of Shah Rukh Khan. And it all finally boils down to the man falling for another woman and eventually engaging in an infidel relationship. But as much of a surprise it might be, it's not too left field even at this point. Dev, while flawed at many levels, carries in himself a Shah Rukh Khan, just like the rest of us. When he imagines himself romanticizing his new object of affection, he does so in full Shah Rukh Khan glory, filled with beautiful poetry, romantic gestures, and of course, the open arms. But that's about all the Shah Rukh Khan we see from Dev, and therein lies the problem. Unlike his imagination, we don't get to see the best version of Dev in reality. In fact, in the real world, Dev's personal flaws are quick to take over this new relationship of his as well, paving way for a passive-aggressive and outright derogatory treatment of Maya as well. To him, everyone around him, especially his wife Riya, are downright selfish for not understanding what he wants, something ironically he himself is never able to comprehend. But that doesn't stop him from calling out these people at every step along the way.
वही जो हर रोज करता हूँ. जॉर्ज बुश के साथ लंच किया. अब मडोना के साथ कॉफी पीने के लिए जा रहा हूँ. Stupid bloody questions.
And this is summed up beautifully in a scene when Riya finally snaps and gives her husband a dose of his own medicine. What starts off as just another day listening to Dev rant about stuff becomes perhaps the finest scene in the film, where Riya, knowing her husband's insecurities all too well by this point, decides to remind Dev about her moral and financial contributions to the family in comparison to what Dev ever had to offer.
मैं अर्जुन की मां नहीं बन सकी क्योंकि मुझे उसका बाप बनना पड़ा, ताकि उसे वो सारी खुशियां दे सकूं जो एक फुटबॉल कोच उसे नहीं दे सकता. कैसा लगा ये सुनकर देव? बहुत दर्द हुआ ना? Now you know how it feels. क्योंकि तुमने मुझे दर्द के सिवा कुछ नहीं दिया है.
It's a scene that showcases just how good of an actor Shah Rukh Khan is behind all the bells and whistles. Going from sporting the regular annoyance on his face to immediately getting his defensive barriers up, and yet still being unable to stop Riya from piercing those walls with her words and shattering him into pieces in merely a few minutes, is really the essence of Dev's conflict at a glance. In his head, consciously or subconsciously, the idea has always been to be a difficult person to deal with right off the bat, so that no one, including himself, can do exactly what Riya does to him in this one scene.
और मैं आज तक नहीं जान पाई तुम्हें किस बात पे ज्यादा गुस्सा आता है, अपनी नाकामयाबी से या मेरी कामयाबी पर.
And with that same idea coming crashing down in that one moment, no matter how far-fetched it is to empathize with this guy with all that he's done during the runtime of the movie, we do still find ourselves understanding the crisis in his head to some extent. Kabhi Alvida Naa Kehna is a courageous effort by Johar in dissecting the very image of Shah Rukh Khan that he himself earlier worked as one of the building blocks for, and presenting it from the lens of a middle-aged regular person who deep down does aspire to reach those levels of perfection known as Shah Rukh Khan. Sure, there are many arguments that can be raised against the film, like its romanticizing of infidelity, its melodrama here and there, and the extremely polarizing climax. But one thing that people do often tend to forget is that in the middle of all of this lies one of Khan's most accomplished performances as an actor, something that, unlike Chak De India or Swadesh, doesn't just distance itself away from the quintessential hero Khan is known for, but actively shreds that image into pieces, giving us a perfect antithesis to the SRK we know. Thank you for watching the video, guys. I'd love to hear what your thoughts about Dev are in the comment section down below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button before you leave so you never miss out on our videos like this. With that out of the way, have a safe week ahead. This is Amir and I shall see you soon.